Hey guys, it's Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and we have woken up to a very surprising sort of event reward today. We have got this new Athel path that has come as part of the Titan Anniversary event. We're about halfway through the Titan Anniversary event, and this is the third of the 4 expected paths that we're going to get for each of the individual starter champions. And probably at the end of it, I guess we're going to get some news around about some legendary champions, I guess. Who knows? That's what there's been hinted. But so far, the heroes paths that we've had for the 4 individual starters, we've had 2 already. They've been kind of underwhelming and a little bit the same. The Gaelic path was identical to the Hellhades path. There was no difference. There's a few player points at the end. Anniversary points were pretty substantial in it. And then it was mostly, you got some hero soul parts, you got a bit of chicken. It was pretty good if you could get some rewards on a free-to-play or on a newer account. But most people would look at the path and go, it's not that very rewarding. Well, I was expecting it to be exactly the same situation today, but Playroom have dropped a bit of either some people would call it a bit of a clanger. Other people like me who are trying to be more optimistic these days would say maybe this is a sign that Playroom are acknowledging that perhaps they pushed the boat a little bit too far with the players' perceptions, because we've got a legendary book. Everything else in the path is identical. All of these rewards are the same as the previous paths, the same point requirements, the same total rewards, and the same way that you can go down the paths, right? You can go down to this specific chicken, only have to get one of the chickens to carry on through. But instead of 50 player points, which we all know is about 0.01 minute of the 250 years that it's going to require you to get Searsha the Crowned, we're getting a legendary book. This actually changes this path's context massively, hugely. This makes this path a lot more valuable for every player in the game. I would even go as far as to say this is one of the most accessible legendary books that I have seen them offer outside of things like the one-off champion training tournament like we just had with Altan of the Shell and various other things, but that requires a fair amount of grind as well. I mean, I'm already at 6,286 coins, and you need to think around about 14,000. We're going to have a look at the adjusted analysis in detail in a moment, but you need about 14,000. So I'm about, what is that? Just under halfway towards the legendary book, and all I did was upgrade about 4 pieces of gear. I've spent about 5 to 6 million silver doing clan quest to upgrade some gear to level 16. I haven't even started doing any spider that is currently happening. It's a clan versus clan and a spider tournament. So effectively, we can triple dip right now. You can do your spider tournament if you're going for the Oella fusion. If you're not going for the Oella fusion, you can still do your spider tournament anyway, because you're probably doing spider because it's clan versus clan. Now, for anyone who it doesn't know, most high-end clans should know this, but if you're not aware, if you turn on super raids right now, you're going to get half of the clan versus clan rewards. So be careful. If you're in this for clan versus clan, do not run super raids. You lose half your points. Very kind of annoying thing, but it is the reality of the situation. But that basically means you can achieve the dungeon divers whilst getting silver to upgrade your artifacts. So this makes this legendary book, because of everything and all the context around it, in my opinion, one of the most accessible legendary books they've ever given a player. So it's a great change. Thank you very much, Playroom. This is a good step to try and fix some of the negativity that we've been experiencing in the game over the last couple of weeks with a couple of the changes. So how does this actually change the math in terms of the analysis? Well, as I said before, the rest of the rewards here that we're getting are exactly the same. We're getting all of the same kind of rewards down here. The only difference is now the capstone is a legendary book instead of Playroom play points, and that is at 1. It's the same cost. It's still 3,000. We get the same amount of rewards for the sort of coins. We're getting the same amount for the upgrading, the dungeon divers. All of it is all the same, which means we can plug in almost an identical sort of analysis. As usual, I will make a Google Sheet of this document so you can look at it yourself, and I will pin it in the description of this video. If you want to go get a copy of it, you can do so. But I've adjusted this to make a path which is the most efficient way to get the legendary book. It would be going down the right-hand side path and then getting the legendary book. You don't need to go down both paths to get the points. You only need to go down one path. So that would be 14,150 points. And you can see, like, the silver cost for that book is actually quite low. We're talking 24 million. It's about the same as what you would expect in an artifact enhancement event. So you're getting a legendary book, which is never in an artifact enhancement event, plus all those additional other rewards, like a few chickens, a bit of energy. You know, they're not necessarily crazy kind of rewards, but they're rewards nonetheless. So for 24 or about 25 million silver, you can get yourself a legendary book. And of course, if you're double dipping a little bit into Dungeon Divers, then obviously it's a little bit more expensive than a traditional Dungeon Divers. However, you're still going to do an awful lot of runs, right? If you're into a clan versus clan, you're probably going to do about 100 to 150 spider runs. If you're going for the fusion, you're probably going to do about 100 to 150 spider runs at a minimum. So you're already carving out a bunch of the coin requirements by doing the spider tournament and getting your silver. So I don't see any reason why players couldn't get this legendary book, but that's the analysis to get this in terms of the points. It's about 14,150, and that will give you a legendary book. Now, alongside this, they seem to be going quite hard this Valentine's. I've never seen so many different packs and things on Valentine's Day, and some of them are actually quite good. I mean, 12 void shards, 4 legendary books, and 600 energy for £34. If you spend money in the game, like, you'll know that that's actually quite a rare kind of price. For context, normally 24 voids is about £50. So for half the amount of price, you're getting 4 legendary books and energy on top. So that's pretty good. We've got this half price mini mix pack. If you're in the mid game, these types of packs are really, really good because you're normally doing arena for your Great Hall progression. You're normally needing food still. The Demon Lord keys are always a bit like kind of a waste, but they never hurt if you're not quite like a comfortable 2 key. You get a spare key here or there or to do whatever you want with. You also get a bunch of shards here, like 6 ancient shards and a bunch of energy refills. So for a mid game account, this is actually really good when they do the half price or the 100% extra kind of concept. You know, we can all agree the semantics, whether it's 100% extra or not. But essentially, for this price and what you get, it's actually one of the better packs when they do the half price for a mid game. For an end game, not so much because you've got a max Great Hall, so the arena refills are pointless. You tend to earn enough chickens, you don't really need them. The brews, I'm sitting on like 1,000 brews, so that's not really that important. So really, you're buying a couple of refills and ancient shards, so it's not so good. You're better off getting a more defined one. We also have this Athel power pack. This is like the Gaelic one. I actually picked this up last time during the Times 3 Savage, and I did this kind of option where I basically bought the full high-end pack, all the energy. You get a substantial amount of energy. Not as much, I think, as the Gaelic pack, because I think the Gaelic pack gives you 17,000. Maybe I've just not spent enough, so I'm starting to go down the tiers of the whaling. I've kind of pulled back a lot of the spending lately. But for pure energy, if you're into kind of like spending any money at all, there's loads of options this Valentine's to actually get you some interesting options. That one is not so good, but I mean, at least when Smiley TK does his valuations, anything that's like $2 for 1 void shard is considered generally a reasonably good deal. So yeah, so there's lots of different things going on this Valentine, lots of different packs being offered. I mean, you could even go for like a eight legendary books and 2,400 energy for 44. If books are your thing, you know, these are pretty good. I haven't really looked at any of these. As I said, I've been on a very much a low spending because ever since all of the different negativity and that and the free to play, I just haven't really been putting much effort into actually buying shards or anything else like that. I don't really see the need for it. And again, I would never advocate spending money in the game. It's up to you. If you've got the excess energy, you can do whatever you want with it. I just wanted to note that they seem to be putting a lot of effort into the Valentine's Day, to the extent there's more happening in Valentine's Day than they did over Christmas. To the extent that's actually quite insane. It's not as bad as Black Friday, thankfully, where we got slammed with deals and offerings. But in terms of the events we got going on, Athel's Path event, great. Very worth going. Thank you, Player, for adding a very good legendary book for us. If you haven't looked at the Dragon Tournament, there is a Void Shard, but sometimes people just don't engage with this content, and you can actually get on the leaderboard. You might be able to sneak in some free Relentless gear, a free Ancient Shard, maybe a bit of energy. Like, I could do a couple of runs, spend maybe like a refill, and get myself some resources here for free. So don't always ignore these. It's a bit awkward because there's so much going on, in the sense that this clan versus clan, there was a champion training tournament, so it kind of went into a bit of an awkward one. If you've got the factions, then you can do it. Obviously, it's Lizardman. If I was to do it with Lizardman, I've obviously got loads of choices on my main account, but the main thing is everyone, if they've done the fusion recently, would have got a Pythian. That's going to help you tremendously. Venomage is a great option for Dragon. And just run it at a lower stage. You can run it at stage 16 if you want to. You still get a decent amount of tournament points, and you can climb up that tournament. Ziichi, if you're that far into the Doom Tower, is not a bad option for doing some damage. And an AoE stun set Basilisk works really well. It's how we got through some of the secret rooms originally. So if you don't have all these legendary champions up here, then there's options in the epic pool that can really help you get that dungeon down. So a bit of an update to what's going on in Raid. I didn't really have an awful lot to talk about on the Athel path, but thank you very much, Playering, for listening a little bit and giving players a rewarding event that doesn't feel like you're constantly taking it from them. Good luck if you're going for it. And if you are competing in the clan versus clan, it's a non-personal, so it's always a little bit chill. It's a little bit more quieter than normal. Good luck. We're kind of a little bit behind at the moment, but we will probably catch up and we'll probably win. I'm at 83,000 points, but I've got a lot of spider to do today. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.